me, art needs to strike some sort of emotion, some sort of movement within a person.
They represent me, they represent you, they represent whoever's looking at them.
I love it when the work finds its buyer.
It's our St. Louis Art Fair special today on Spotlight. We'll take a journey back to 2018 when the art fair celebrated 25 years in Clayton. Find out how the show got its start and what they do the rest of the year. And then meet the artists with HEC Media's exclusive artist interviews. Plus, find out how the fair will work in 2020 as the show becomes virtual. It's Sunday and you're watching Spotlight.
Like any work of art, it began with a simple idea.
People showed up when the art fair opened that first year. I was like, where did all these people come from?
Like any work of art, the bigger the idea, the bigger the impact.
It's one of the top 3 or 4 art fairs in the country.
Like any work of art, the beauty is in the details.
I think covering all aspects of art is something that opens up the art world to everyone.
Every year on the second weekend in September, the city of Clayton transforms into the Village of Imagination, known as the St. Louis Art Fair, presented by the Centene Charitable Foundation. But this year is special. This year, the St. Louis Art Fair turns 25.
25 years is a long time. I feel like we're established.
I think that the art fair itself is really a shining beacon.
It's part of the fabric, part of the culture that's become of our city. I can't imagine doing without it. It's my favorite weekend of the year.
We're moving, we're evolving. We've been here for 25 years. So yes, it's exciting to celebrate our past, but look at where we're going in the future.
You know, the arts are just another way that we connect as a community. It breaks down barriers in ways that we desperately need in St. Louis and beyond. So I think having those conversations around art, or that start with art, help lead us to other ways that we can connect.
You know, just walking around, seeing friends. The greatest experience is to see the community come together, enjoying themselves, sharing something.
Friends. That's what a girl named Jill and a boy named Chad were becoming in 2003, when he said to her, "Meet me at the fair." It was their first date. It turned into a masterpiece.
Yeah, we would call the St. Louis Art Fair our anniversary night.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to go out at the art fair as an anniversary experience every year after.
I like art that simplistically just reminds me of something. So like the poster we got from the art fair reminds us of our first date.
Going with Chad to the art fair was a huge turn in my life. I wouldn't have him as an amazing husband. I wouldn't have my 3 amazing kids. And that I feel like that experience was a cornerstone in our lives.
So how did this world-class art fair get its start? Clayton Mayor Harold Sanger witnessed the birth.
In 1993 was really the embryo of the art fair. It was created by Mayor Uschitel and his wife Susan.
Ben and Susan Uschitel pictured downtown Clayton as a blank canvas and then thought of a way to introduce some color.
So I was the mayor of Clayton at that time. The idea of having an art fair that was a regional, national, major art fair seemed inviting and good.
We moved very quickly, developed hard over the summer, and worked our tails off.
It started on only a couple of streets in Clayton. Now it occupies almost every street in downtown Clayton.
Every year, artists from all over the world try to get one of the coveted spots at the St. Louis Art Fair. Typically, more than 1,000 apply, but only 181 are accepted. The difficult decision about who gets into the show is made by a 5-person jury, charged with making sure the fair offers both quality and variety.
For many years, the jury process has always been sort of this mysterious thing that takes place behind a closed curtain. And for us, it's important to make sure that it's as transparent as possible. We schedule at least 30 hours for the jury process, which is much longer than the art fair is actually open to the public.
They have such a high rate of artists applying. They really have a great pool to choose from, and it keeps the show top-notch, which keeps the people coming back excited and interested in understanding a different level of artwork.
But long after the fair closes to the public, its work continues with year-round programs designed to give young people and budding artists new ways of thinking about what they can do with art.
Another thing that Cultural Festivals does is really help mentor artists. And so we have something called the Emerging Artists as Entrepreneurs program, something we're very excited about. You wouldn't think that an artist needs to learn how to pack a van. That doesn't really become an issue until you're going out to do art fairs, or for instance, how to start an LLC, or tax implications. Those aren't things that artists typically kind of start thinking about when they're creating their art. That really comes into being when they're trying to figure out how to make a living at art.
I can't recommend the program enough. I had a really wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful that they offer something like this. I had been trying to do shows prior to that and just felt like I was banging my head against the wall because I didn't know who to ask. And I was nervous to approach, like a veteran and be like, so just tell me how to do this. So I was so grateful to find that program and be involved and go through the process.
We love the emerging artists portion of it because it gives local people who have some creativity and art skills the opportunity to show what they show. And when those folks end up being in the art fair, what a glorious day it is for everyone.
So I'm a mixed media artist. I hand stitch drawings directly into photo paper. I love the realism that you see within the black and white photographs, combined with the whimsical nature of the colorful threads. I partnered with the Missouri History Museum. They have an incredible online collection of historical photographs from the St. Louis World's Fair. In all my series, the thread represents some sort of normally invisible force. My St. Louis series, the thread represents the idea of connection, the idea that the past and the present are kind of woven together. Before the Emerging Artist program, I was pretty much on my own.
What began with a simple idea has grown into an art fair with tremendous impact, not just on the artists, not just on the visitors, and not just on the bottom line. What the St. Louis Art Fair has done in its first 25 years is to prove that this city, in the middle of the country, has earned a special place at the center of the world of art. It's hard to know whether the fair will become even bigger over the next 25 years. But the first 25 years have proven that this fair always strives to become even better.
Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I spent the last 15 years traveling and focusing on a lot of different cultures around the world. I focused on the southern tribes of southern Ethiopia, pilgrims at Kumbh Mela, the Zapotecs in Oaxaca, a lot of different cultures. I really find it fascinating to be able to bring to awareness some of the ways of others, some of the ways of being that other people have around the world. The way that I got into photography is really a long story. I love to share it. But in short, I was a technology sales rep for about 15 years, and I kind of went through a personal valley of darkness back in 2000 to 2004, and a lot of really bad things happened. And so I decided to, ultimately I surrendered and asked for guidance, and then based on sort of these these winks that I was given. I sold it all and traveled around the world for 1 year. I had a $400 camera. I didn't expect it to happen. And when I returned from that 1-year trip around the world, I came back with a portfolio of work that sort of led me into this new direction. And then 5 years later, National Geographic discovered the work and decided to sign me under their agency, National Geographic Image Collection. I hope the work that I create will help others sort of have empathy and compassion and understanding and embrace the differences that these other peoples have. What I photograph is so much different than how I live. I'm inspired by it. I love to connect with people who are not like me. I try to connect with people that don't think the way I think, that don't live the way that I live. I find that if I can bring that into these exhibitions and these shows, hopefully I can express with the work that this is something to be admired and to be embraced. When I first started out, I was in the mountains of Vietnam and I came across a woman in the mountains, me and her, and she passed me and she had a blue and a green hand, and I stopped her and asked her what was on her hands. And from the indigo dyes, one blue, one green hand, I stopped her and asked her to present her hands to me and hold them out. And I photographed one picture, didn't think anything about it. I had no idea the impact that one image would have on my personal career, as well as the people who now collect that piece and have it in their home. I feel personally called sometimes just to go to the places that I ultimately create these projects in. In the beginning of my career, it was more just sort of the adventure of it. And as I've progressed into this career, I think I'm 15 years in at this point, I'm really more targeted, and I really pay attention to sort of the way that I'm being guided to go to these certain places. It really has been quite a journey to be on, and I feel like it's such a gift to be able to offer this work. What draws people to the work is as varied as the person who is approaching the work. For me, art needs to strike some sort of emotion, some sort of movement within a person, and I feel like that I've been blessed with the ability to capture photographs that do exactly that. I've seen so many cases of that over the years, from grandmothers all the way down to 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. I've even had be moved by the work in really, really unique ways.
I've been involved in fiber arts my whole life. I started out as a hand weaver, and now I am having fabrics made for me. I'm using jacquard, turn-of-the-century patterns, and doing all of my own color and making clothing and furniture out of those. I also make jackets and bags out of silks, which I pleat and embroider and manipulate. In terms of my style, I would say flowers are a big influence. I'm an avid gardener, and I started doing tapestries of flowers, first weaving. And then I discovered that a lot of the turn-of-the-century patterns, they involved floral designs. So I love those, and I have been using those, using my own color. And I think color is my strongest area. I work with my daughter, which is really unique. She's in her 30s, and she has brought a whole new life to my business because she's also an artist, but she's also very mathematical. So she has made a lot of new patterns. She has skills I don't have, and I have color skills she doesn't have. So it's very exciting, and our customers love that we're mother and daughter and that we work together. We keep changing all the time, and that's our success. People, they don't want something that they saw 40 years ago. They want to feel stylish. And so the hard thing about not having the shows right now is that we do almost all custom work with the jackets and coats. So when people come to the show, we have maybe 50 or 60 jackets, and we actually only have one of each in each style. So people try them on, and then we custom make it for them. So this year, we are willing to send out jackets for people to try on. So they can pick out a style on the website, and we'll send them 2 or 3 sizes. And then on the phone or on Zoom, we can figure out how to make it for them. And people love that because everyone is a different size. We can make it any length. We can take the shoulders in, the hips out. We really do great by our customers.
I'm Michael Stedham, and I'm an oil painter. I always paint glass jars, and all the glass jars, they either represent people or situations that people find themselves in. So there's a story with each painting. Well, I was always going to be an artist since I was a kid, and then I joined the Navy, and joined as a cook actually, and then I became an illustrator draftsman for the Navy. When I got out, I got a job in a gallery in San Diego, and I moved my way up to be a manager in Minneapolis. And then in 1990, I went full-time art. So this is my 30th year. I spent a lot of time in the woods and hunting and fishing and stuff like that. So when I first went full-time art, I was a wildlife artist. And I did that for about 10 years. And then I had this great hunting dog. And then all my friends had great hunting dogs. So I started painting dogs, which was only one step removed from wildlife. So it kind of seamlessly went together. And then I said, what is it that I really want to do? I wanted to paint pictures that, even if they didn't sell, I would like them myself. And that's when I started painting the jars. So I've heard that said that that's artistic suicide, because you leave behind your customers, and they're expecting golden retrievers, not mason jars. So I was at a position in my life where I could paint what actually turned me on today. So I moved to this. So I've been with the jars for about 5 years now. I love it when the work finds its buyer. It's almost like a marriage. Like I painted it for this person before I even knew they existed.
How to navigate the virtual fair, later on Spotlight. The 2020 Art Fair is 100% virtual, September 11th through 13th at stlouisartfair.com.
My name is Fong Chu. I'm a professional studio potter. I did not know that I was going to be a potter. I was a business major in college, and then took a couple of art classes and just fell in love with art. I like the tactile side of clay, I think. I like the fact that it comes alive. I offer a wide variety of colors, and so from there, it's how I actually learn how to make work. I make my work based on the glazes. I don't make the work and then go, well, let's see how I'm going to glaze these. I'm basically taking glazes in the industry and kind of over melting them in my kiln, and that creates a myriad of colors. My roots were essentially utilitarian. I was a functional potter. I made bowls, I made vases, I made big teapots, for a living. In 1994, I had a one-person show, and I sold out of the event. And at that time, I was exploring these little teapots. I decided, well, maybe that was an omen, that was a calling. So I went and just focused on that form. Ever since then, 94 to now, I've been making one form, the teapot. I decided to move away from it being functional. I look at it as a piece of jewelry, I look at it as a piece of sculpture, but not something that's functional.
I'm Tim Chapman, and I am a professional landscape and fine art travel photographer. This will actually be my 41st year photographing. I travel the world and photograph places that are seldom seen. And over the last number of years, it's been a lot of places that are under threat. So I've been up to Greenland, into Vietnam, Cambodia, Siberia, and China as well. So I come back with images that are quite different than what people are used to seeing. I get away from the clutter of the big scene, and I try to find the intimate little details that give the nature its personality. A problem with some types of wall art is that after 6 months or so, it kind of can become furniture where you don't notice it all that much. I don't want my pieces to be like that, so I go out of my way to make sure I'm capturing images that are really, really unique and different, but have an effect on the viewer. I take almost an engineering approach. I've got an idea in my head of the type of image that I want to capture. When I show up at the location, and I've done all my due diligence and I'm well prepared, finding the images will come easier that way because they're already up here. And being a film photographer, there's great value in the currency of each image. They deserve care. So I don't spray and pray. I don't take a lot of photographs, but I know that when I'm about to capture one, everything is right. I photograph stuff that stimulates me. It's not necessarily going to stimulate, all my images are going to stimulate everyone the same way. We're all going to have different interactions with them. So I would rather not have my work in every home, have it in the right homes. And because there's been enough people that have supported my work and bought my work over the years that get that enables me to always maintain and keep my passion about what I do for a living. And I've been so fortunate that way.
Batik is something that is not very commonly seen in the fine art world, but it is an ancient process of dyeing fabric. So I am using a cotton fabric, and I am essentially, instead of painting images onto a canvas, I am dyeing images into fabric using wax as a resist and dyes. So the process is, it's long and a little tedious, and it requires a whole lot of patience. A lot of these pieces take anywhere from 1 to 4 months to finish. It is a unique form of art, and I was introduced to batik when I was in high school. I just felt like there was just a wide open possibility for this medium, and I wasn't seeing it represented. So from there on, it's been almost 30 years of experimenting and creating using this medium. It's fascinating, and it's kind of like a puzzle every single time. Color, to me, has an emotional value, and what I like to do is to create an emotional scene, an emotional sort of landscape, using just these colors and patterns and movement. The people in the pieces have I think, an interesting history. This kind of theme began, I want to say, maybe 15, 16 years ago when my children were young. And they did a lot of coloring. We did a lot of coloring, a lot of drawing. And I found that they were telling all these fantastic stories about these creatures that they would put in their drawings. And so we would sit down together and make a little kind of a story drawing, and I'd put stick people into these little stories that they were creating. I have their little people on my arms. And I decided to take that into the studio kind of on a whim, because I liked the idea of there being just these like human figures, and each kid that looked at them would tell a different story. And what kind of evolved from that is there's this realization that we all have stories to tell. And in creating a piece where I can hopefully lay the basis of an emotional landscape using color and pattern and texture, leaving the figures just blank, I'm not telling the viewer, this is what this person is thinking or feeling. This is what this person looks like. Instead, the viewer gets to bring their own story, their own face to the pieces. We all have things that connect in our stories. And so putting down my story onto a piece without having my face on it opens up the piece to other people. And when other people find their stories in the piece, there's a real comforting sense of connection. And that's what I'm really going for. These figures are just human figures. They represent me, they represent you, they represent whoever's looking at them. And with a blank face and no features, it allows just sort of, it's like a placeholder for somebody else's face, somebody else's story.
Meet more St. Louis Art Fair artists at stlfair.com. This year's virtual fair will take place at stlouisartfair.com.
Go to hecmedia.org for the arts and authors,
Completely accidental because I never set out to write a book.
science and history, culture and community,
It's considered to be the oldest organic farm west of the Mississippi.
education, films.
Finding the coin places the site firmly in the 13th century.
What's happening now around St. Louis and more. See for yourself at hecmedia.org. It is one of the most anticipated events of the year. But this year, COVID-19 has forced the St. Louis Art Fair to move from the streets of Clayton to the Information Superhighway. The 2020 St. Louis Art Fair will be held virtually.
So tell me about the decision to go virtual. I'm sure that wasn't easy to make.
We finally came to the decision back in June, early June, that it was the best decision for our community and for our artists to cancel the in-person event. But all the while, we knew we still wanted to have an art fair experience.
Will it be about the same number of artists, the same kinds of variety of artists, and even the same artists themselves?
Yes, we are going to have over 120 artists participating in our virtual show. And these artists are all juried artists. So these are artists that have gone through our jury process. These would have been the artists who would have been showing on the streets of Clayton if we would have had our in-person event. So it's the same high quality, high caliber artists. We're going to have a really exciting artist roundtable that is being shot by HEC TV Media, and we're really excited to have this roundtable experience where our art fair artists who have come to St. Louis regularly, they'll get to discuss with one another the art fair experience and their methods for creating their work.
My name's Dave Stein, and I'm the owner of David Stein Woodworking.
You can also learn about individual artists in advance because HEC Media is once again sponsoring Meet the Artists, a series of video profiles available at stlfair.com.
The good thing about having this hosted on our website is this allows our patrons to shop a variety of artists. They can shop more than one. They can shop multiple artists, put all of their art purchases in their shopping cart, and check out at the end of the day through the website.
You've got some plans to try to incorporate the food and the music virtually, too.
Yes, we do. We are going to have some wonderful specials available from some of your favorite Clayton restaurants that they can check out through our website. We are still having our main stage presented by Enterprise, and we're so happy to have their support to bring the main stage experience to our website.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about the weather.
I know. Isn't that the truth? When you produce an outdoor festival, that usually is your biggest concern.
Not this year.
The weather. Not this year. We do not have to worry about the weather this year. We only have to worry about to make sure that there is enough room on the cloud, not the clouds in the sky, but the cloud for our server, to make sure that there's enough room to handle all the traffic that I'm sure we're going to be getting on the website. So we're preparing for that too, to make sure that we can handle all the fans that want to come and view the artist's work and everything that the art fair has to offer.
Well, Sarah, thanks so much for being with us today, and good luck with the event.
Oh, why, thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
The 2020 Art Fair is 100% virtual, September 11th through 13th at stlouisartfair.com. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Next Sunday, we'll tell you how scientists are working to prevent future pandemics, and we'll take you to the brand new exhibit at the Foundry Arts Center. Tune in next week, Sunday, 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.